We go to Atlanta.
Why?
In the wake of the horrific death of one Laken Riley by an illegal who just happened to be a gang member, gee, go figure,
This mother...
he was charged, tried, sentenced, found guilty, and is now serving life in prison. I'm Jasper Gonzo on this. When asked why didn't he get the death penalty, the prosecutor said, well, Roe v. Wade.
What the fuck?
What?
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's what's next. A happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Jasper Gonzo, what's next? Another daily episode for you. Hope you guys are feeling good today. Well, it's been a wild 24 hours. The case of Laken Riley, the Georgia student who was jogging one day and was killed by an illegal who just happened to be a gang member. Gee, shocker. But the way she was killed was so horrific, it just blew everybody's mind. Of course, now it's gone to trial. Of course, the guy was sentenced, but he was sentenced to life imprisonment. But when asked why wasn't the death penalty thrown at him, which was an option, the prosecution said, yeah, it's about Roe v. Wade. What? Exactly. This coming out of the New York Post. Lefty Georgia DA in Laken Riley case faces outrage after killer migrant avoids the death penalty. The progressive Georgia DA, who was prosecuting nursing student Laken Riley's illegal immigrant killer, refused to seek the death penalty even after removing herself from the case, drawing outrage when the defendant was sentenced to life without parole. Athens Clark DA Deborah Gonzalez, who appointed a special prosecutor to take over the prosecution of Jose Ibarra, yes, that piece of shit, at the end of February, amid criticism of her own prosecutorial record, laid out her soft on crimes reform when she assumed office in January of 21. Gonzalez said her office would no longer seek the death penalty when considering charging defendants. She would take into account collateral consequences into undocumented defendants. Oh, how nice of you. According to a copy of the DA's policy shared by Georgia State Rep. Houston Gaines. And there she is right there. Isn't she wonderful? What a hag. Ibarra, the 26-year-old gang member, was sentenced Wednesday to life without parole after being convicted of murdering the 22-year-old college student. His sentence angered many Republicans, including Gaines, who felt that the killer should have gotten the death penalty. Gonzalez announced this spring would not seek the death penalty against Ibarra, stating, "Our utmost duty is to ensure that justice is served and that victims' families is an integral part of the deliberation process." Bullshit. It's just jibber-jabber bullshit. She also acknowledged that critics will also seek to exploit this case for political gain, but legal decision must always transcend political considerations. The decision appears in line with what Gonzalez told staff in 21. Cases that are legally eligible for death penalty are eligible for sentences and life without parole and life with parole eligibility after serving 30 years. What a shame. Wow. Both of these sentences constitute a very substantial punishment. Decisions to seek the sentence of life without parole or a sentence of death in prison. She also reported that the office would take into account collateral consequences to undocumented defendants, of course, when making charging decisions. GOP lawmakers were incensed that Ibarra would not face the death penalty. Yes, there he is, that piece of shit who should have just got, let's just say, one in the chamber. That's just me. If there was ever a case where the death penalty was appropriate, this is it, Gaines tweeted on Wednesday. Meanwhile, State Senator Colton Moore called on the State Attorney General to intervene. "I am officially calling on Attorney General Chris Carr to file an emergency motion to intervene and demand the death penalty for the murderer of Laken Riley," he tweeted. District Attorney Deborah Gonzalez let her radical political agenda stand in the way of justice by refusing to seek the death penalty. She denied Laken's family, friends, and community with full measure of justice they deserve. Even Georgia, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene also weighed in. "Jose Ibarra deserves the death penalty," she tweeted, just as Laken's mother, Allison, asked the judge. "Laken's evil murderer deserves exactly what he gave to Laken." Gonzalez lost her re-election bid this month by a 20-point margin. Who didn't see that coming? The fact of the matter is that when you as a defense attorney and or prosecutor allow your political views to come to the forefront of making any decision sound by law, that's a problem. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. But when this is something, when this case particularly is so simple that even a 4-year-old would have said, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, that dude deserves to die," you know, and then you're like, "Well, you know, we're not going to do it because of decisions that were made, you know, by a certain president, Roe v. Wade, or things of that nature, you know." And you're scratching your head, go, "What the does that have to do with this?" Nothing, absolutely nothing. You knew he was going to be found guilty. Now, me, when it comes to the death penalty, it used to be a deterrent, long time ago. Take a trip on the way back. Remember when Texas used to be the arbiter of the death penalty? Anybody who was found guilty of that and was sentenced to death in Texas was pretty much dead within a year or 2 years. Yeah, that's gone by the wayside as well. Death penalty is no longer a deterrent. It's usually a hotel sentence. We've seen people on death row for 10, 20, 30 years using every single tactic to avoid getting fried or injected. What's the difference? Other than mixing with Gen Pop, what's the difference? Me? Nothing. But to me, it's just the point of the matter. This piece of shit should not be sitting in an 8x8, getting fed 3 meals a day, cable, working out with weights, walking around the yard. No, absolutely not. Like I just said, one in the chamber. That's all it takes. Just one, in the town square, everybody watching. Boop. You're done. Simple. But for this prosecutor to allow her political views to intervene, her leftist political views to intervene by bringing up Roe v. Wade, by bringing up nonsensical garbage like this, makes absolutely no sense. But then again, I'm not surprised. This is what they do. But when it comes to true justice, when you have a family whose life were torn apart because of this horrific murder, and of course, I didn't even go into detail. For those who seem to forget, her head was bashed in by this piece of shit. So the penalty should fit the crime, shouldn't it? And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.